spun through her hair and straightened the 2 pink ribbons tied around her pigtails. She always wore pink ribbons because pink was a color for girls. Boys were supposed to wear blue and brown and boring colors like that. Boys were okay sometimes, but mostly they did disgusting things. Her 4 dolls accompanied her across the backyard and into the wooded acre behind. She hated getting her Mary Janes dusty, but that couldn't be avoided. With a good deal of ceremony, she opened the rickety door and then slowly, the way she'd seen it done at her older cousin's wedding, Caitlin marched into the boys' packing crate and cardboard fort. Pausing inside the narrow doorway, she glanced around. It wasn't anything to brag about. Martin had made it sound like a palace with marble floors and crystal chandeliers. She couldn't help feeling disillusioned. If she hadn't been so eager to see the fort, she would have insisted they do this properly, in church. Her brother stood tall and proud on an upturned apple crate, the Bible clutched to his chest. His face was dutifully somber. Caitlin smiled approvingly. He, at least, was taking this seriously. "You can't bring those dolls in here," Joseph said loudly. "I most certainly can. Barbie and Ken and Paula and Jane are our children." "Our children?" "Naturally, they haven't been born yet, so they're really just a glint in your eye." She'd heard her father say that once, and it sounded special. "They're angels for now, but I thought they should be here so you could meet them." She was busily arranging her dolls in a tidy row behind Martin on another apple crate. Joseph covered his face with his hands, and it looked for a moment like he might change his mind. "Are we going to get married or not?" she asked. All right, Joseph sighed heavily and pulled her forward, a little more roughly than necessary in Caitlin's opinion. The 2 of them stood in front of Martin, who randomly opened his Bible. He gazed down at the leather-bound book and then at Caitlin and his best friend. "Do you, Joseph James Rockwell, take Caitlin Rose Marshall for your wife?" "Lawfully wedded," Caitlin corrected. She remembered this part from a television show. "Lawfully wedded wife," Martin amended grudgingly. "I do." Caitlin noticed that he didn't say it with any real enthusiasm. "I think there's supposed to be something about richer or poorer and sickness and health," Joseph said, smirking at Caitlin as if to say she wasn't the only one who knew the proper words. Martin nodded and continued. "Do you, Caitlin Rose Marshall, hereby take Joseph James Rockwell in sickness and health and in riches and poorness?" "I'm only going to marry a man who's healthy and rich." "You can't go putting conditions on this now," Joseph argued. "We already agreed." "Just say I do," Martin urged, his voice tight with annoyance. Caitlin suspected that only the seriousness of the occasion prevented him from adding, "You pest." She wasn't sure if she should go through with this or not. She was old enough to know that she liked pretty things, and when she married, her husband would build her a castle at the edge of the forest. He would love her so much he'd bring home silk ribbons for her hair and bottles of expensive perfume, so many that there wouldn't be room for all of them on her makeup table. "Caitlin," Martin said through clenched teeth. "I do," she finally answered. "I hereby pronounce you married," Martin proclaimed, closing the Bible with a resounding thud. "You may kiss the bride." Joseph turned to face Caitlin. He was several inches taller than she was. His eyes were a pretty shade of blue that reminded her of the way the sky looked the morning after a bad rainstorm. She liked Joseph's eyes. "You ready?" he asked. She nodded, closed her eyes, and pressed her lips tightly together as she angled her head to the left. If the truth be known, she wasn't all that opposed to having Joseph kiss her, but she'd never let him know that because kissing wasn't something ladies talked about. A long time passed before she felt his mouth touch hers. Actually, his lips sort of bounced against hers. Gee, she thought, what a big fuss over nothing. "Well?" Martin demanded of his friend. Caitlin opened her eyes to discover Joseph frowning down at her. "It wasn't anything like Pete said it would be," he grumbled. "Caitlin might be doing it wrong," Martin offered, frowning accusingly.